Hey guys, Sora here with another video. Today I'm going to show you something a little different. I'm going to show you my 4K Blu Ray collection. Now we have quite a few of these, so this is probably going to be as long or longer than my PS5 game collection. But yeah, let's start. Let's make a start. First up, we have Casino Royale, the first 007 Casino Royale. We have the first Daniel Craig Bond movie. One of the best Bond movies in my opinion. He really nailed it as Bond on his first attempt. A lot of people regard this as the best Bond film. I regard it as the second best Bond film, but there is a Daniel Craig movie I do think is the best Bond film. We have Quantum of Solace. From one of the best Bond films and one of the weakest. This movie was known for having extensive rewrites during production, and an unfortunate fact that the original main villain in the movie died. The actor did during the writing process, so everything was changed. I literally only remember two scenes from this movie every time I watch it, and that's the scene where the Aston Martin there gets shot to pieces, and when three things: when the girl is on the bed covered in oil, and when he leaves the villain in the desert with the can of oil and says that he'll get desperate enough to drink it when he's out there long enough. Yeah, Quantum of Solace is not a very good Bond movie at all. We have Skyfall, the Bond movie that I believe is the best Bond movie. This is a quintessential Bond movie. This is up there with Goldfinger and GoldenEye and The Spy Who Loved Me and On Her Majesty's Secret Service, in my opinion. Casino Royale, in my opinion. Those would be the 5 quintessential Bond movies, if you ask me. Brilliant theme by Adele. Brilliant villain. Javier Bardem. Playing Silva. Completely unhinged dude. Brilliant story in this one. Just everything about this is brilliant. And it's got a good 4K transfer as well. And we have Spectre. A lot of people have a lot of issues with this movie, mainly the relationship between Blofeld and Bond, that Blofeld's dad took Bond in. This girl here I really like her. She's actually one of my favorite Bond girls now. She's in the next movie as well. Dave Bautista, the wrestler, is in this movie, and also Drax is in this movie. He has one line in the movie, and that's a swear word. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Not as good, though. We have No Time to Die. This is the last Bond movie that you'll see, because only the Daniel Craig Bond movies have 4K releases. This movie is a very long Bond movie. I think it's 2 hours, 43 minutes, so it's nearly 3 hours long. The ending is a shock, still to me to this day. I'm curious how they're going to continue with this. But yeah, really another good theme. Rami Malek is wasted in the role. You barely see him enough. The movie kind of drags and is paced weirdly, but it has a good payoff at the very end, and I'm curious where they're going to go with the franchise now. We have one of my favorite Disney animated movies from my childhood, and has the voice of one of my favorite actors who is greatly missed, and that is Aladdin, with the voice of the legendary Robin Williams, who is greatly missed. Nobody can play Genie like him. I know Dan Castellaneta tries in the animated series and the sequels and in Kingdom Hearts, and I know Will Smith. Keep your wife's name out your damn mouth. I had to try it in the remake, but this movie is untouchable for me. This movie is a masterpiece of animated cinema. Whole New World is one of the greatest Disney songs. Friend Like Me is one of the greatest Disney songs. Arabian Nights is a bop. Prince Ali is a bop. Just so many fantastic songs in this movie. Also, this 4K release is the only version of the Aladdin movie to actually display the movie in its original cinematic aspect ratio. The Blu Ray release and the DVD release did not have the original aspect ratio, so this is the only way to experience this movie in the original aspect ratio. And if you have a decent HDR setup, I watch all my 4K Blu-rays on my PS5, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. So this still technically counts as a gaming video, people. If you have your HDR calibrated just right, like I do, on your PS5 or any like 4K Blu-ray, this movie looks stunningly beautiful and bright and colorful, which is a recurring theme with Disney movies, which is why I have quite a few of them. We have Aquaman. The second one isn't out yet, over here. This movie looks phenomenal, especially the underwater sections, which I believe, this has IMAX scenes, where this is one of only, I believe, 2, maybe 3, I think, 4K releases I have that have the IMAX scenes intact. Brilliant movie. Unfortunately, we have this cretin in it. Yeah, it's a great movie. We have Avengers, or as it's known over here, Avengers Assemble. It's called Avengers Assemble over here in the UK because there's a movie based on a 1960s TV show called The Avengers, which is no affiliation with this. I love this movie so much. It's incredibly credible. That scene that's on the back here is still one of the most iconic scenes in cinema. It's not the most iconic scene in the MCU. That happens in Endgame. But yeah, just seeing this movie in 4K is a treat. We have Avengers Age of Ultron. The weakest of the Avengers quadrilogy, in my opinion. But that's not an insult to this movie, because it's still a fantastic movie. All 4 Avengers movies are great. This is just the weakest by process of it being, wedged between 3 of the best MCU movies. Ultron is really creepy and intimidating, especially when he starts quoting Pinocchio with the "I've got no strings on me." Yeah. David Spade was great as Ultron. We have Avengers Infinity War, the Avengers movie that a lot of people regard as the best. I don't think it's the best, I think it's the second best. But it's basically one gigantic action scene. But yeah, it's still a fantastic movie. And it's got a shock ending because the villain wins. We have Avengers Endgame. I love this movie 3000. See what I did there? I remember going to see this in cinemas, and there'll never be a cinema experience that will top it, I don't think. Just seeing that big final battle scene on the big screen. This was the culmination of 22 interconnected movies. No, I don't have all 22 MCU movies, but this is one of my favorite movies. It's definitely my favorite of the MCU movies. Wow, kind of. I'll. There's another one coming up under the S's that I'll get into why that might be a contender for my favorite as well. But yeah, still a brilliant movie, and it has a fantastic 4K version. We have the Back to the Future Ultimate Trilogy. Now, this one I have to slide out to show you guys because there's something Christ. You'd think I would have learned from the last video with the difficulty I had with the Court of Lamb. We have Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and a bonus disc. This actually contains episodes of the Back to the Future animated series. This one, 2, is my favorite of the movies. 1 I think is iconic and I love. 3 just exists. 3 just exists. That's not the only trilogy I'll be saying that about the third entry in either. Spoiler alert. There's another one coming up that I have a lot of issues with the third movie of. But it's got a new version of it, so. We have the 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. Michael Keaton is still, in my opinion, the best Batman. Yes, I generally believe that. Jack Nicholson is one of the best Jokers. To me, the only Joker that's actually inherently bad is Jared Leto's Joker, and that's only because he's in a shit movie and he's not really portraying the Joker. Jack Nicholson is a tie for me with Mark Hamill's animated universe Joker and Heath Ledger's Joker as the best Joker. I don't have the Dark Knight trilogy because I'm not part with those movies, except for the middle one, second one. Stunning looking movie. They did a lot of work with it. The only issue I have is the HDR is kind of messed up. There's the scene when you have the where you go into where you have the mob boss and you have the Joker going into his office. You see his face way before the reveal of it is actually supposed to happen, which kind of puts a damper on things. The white levels are a bit too high, which for a movie whose main villain is the Joker, that's kind of a problem, but it's still a great movie. We have Batman Returns. Some people regard this as the best of the original Batman quadrilogy. I don't know how you could in good conscience say that, because Batman's not really in it that much. It's the creepiest. In fact, this movie used to terrify me as a child, but now I'm fine with it. Also, interestingly, it was the way parents reacted to this movie that is the reason why Nightmare Before Christmas isn't a Disney animated classic numbered. It would have been the number in between Aladdin and The Lion King, which would have been a fantastic string. But yeah, it's still a great movie. I'd recommend watching this movie at Christmas because it is technically a Christmas movie. Also, Michelle Pfeiffer is fantastic in this. Danny DeVito is fantastic in this. Christopher Walken is fantastic in this. Just a fantastic cast in this movie. Yeah. And the Penguin is actually really creepy. We have Batman Forever. This movie isn't that bad. I know a lot of people shit on this and say, oh, it's a terrible movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just not as good as the two. It's kind of campy. It's actually ironic because there's actually a story behind this with Tommy Lee Jones saying to Jim Carrey, I don't condone your buffoonery, when he is arguably a more campy and buffoon-like in this movie than Jim Carrey is. These two are basically competing with each other just to see who can be the most, like, chew the most scenery and be the most crazy and over the top. It's Val Kilmer as Batman in this one, who is probably my least favorite, probably my least favorite cinematic Batman. Just, yeah. He never really fit the part for me. Which is strange, because I love him in Top Gun. And then we have, of course, I had to get this one to complete the quadrilogy, we have Batman and Robin. Yes, this movie is terrible. But it's one of those so bad, it's actually fun movies. I mean, the bat nipples are just... Oh my god, you can actually see it on the cover. Why? The bat nipples are cringe. The movie dialogue is cringe. Mr. Freeze himself is cringe with, like, you're not sending me to the cooler, and I see you. Chill out, bird boy. Like, yeah, it's a very cringe movie. It feels like a movie adaptation of the Adam West Batman series. But yeah, it's still a fun movie. Ironically, I used to love this movie as a kid. So that says a lot about my taste as a kid, doesn't it? We have another one of my favorite Disney animated movies, and I think this would be a good contender for probably the greatest animated movie ever made, along with another Disney movie that comes up soon, Beauty and the Beast. I love this movie. This is another one of those movies that's a masterpiece. Be Our Guest is a bop, Belle is a bop, and of course Beauty and the Beast is one of the most beautiful Disney songs ever, like, composed. Just a fantastic, fantastic movie. And really, really stunning on 4K as well. We have, last one was part, we have Beetlejuice, another movie of Michael Keaton, directed by Tim Burton. a very, very funny, creepy comedy horror movie. I love this movie. The effects, because it's practical effects, the effects are actually really good on 4K. Then we have, move this over here. We have Black Adam. Also, I get the pun. 1 hour of electrifying bonus content because it's Black Adam and it's also The Rock. I actually really like this movie. I don't think it's a terrible movie like some people were saying it is. It's more played for laughs than anything. Black Adam is kind of okay as a hero type character. It's like, it's okay. It's just it's a really good movie, and it's more of a popcorn flick than like a movie to be taken actually seriously. We have Black Panther with the late, great, and very much missed Chadwick Boseman. I love this movie so much. The 4K of the movie is a little bit disappointing though. They didn't really do anything with the 4K of it. It's just basically the Blu Ray, but like with HDR. Brilliant movie. Yeah, just a brilliant movie and a very good cast of non-white actors. Even though it does have a couple of them. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. The beginning of this movie is probably some of the saddest in the MCU, apart from Endgame, because it actually feels like a legitimate send-off to Chadwick. Very long movie, but very good movie. I think the right person takes up the mantle of Black Panther. And I know a lot of people are like, well, it doesn't happen in the comics. Yeah, it doesn't happen in the comics, but they did what they had to do. I think this was more better than recasting, because I think recasting would just come across as disrespectful. So I'm glad they took the route that they did. It's actually pretty funny in places too. It's sad and funny in places. We have Black Widow. This movie was a disappointment, considering how long it took to actually get it. It's not a terrible movie. It's just disappointing when you take into consideration how long we had to wait to get this. So, yeah. Looks good on 4K, though. We have Blade. Now, this is interesting. It's a Marvel movie that's distributed by Warner Brothers, who own DC. I love the Blade movie. It's a shame we don't have the other two, even though the third one is, well, But, I'm glad we have this. I just wish they didn't go into it and digitally remove all of the film grain, because I think film grain is really integral to the 4K experience, because it really gives it that layer of authenticity, but it's still great 4K. It's pretty interesting that it's made by Warner Brothers. We have Blue Beetle. I actually really like this movie. I think it's really funny. Jaime is great in this. It's actually really hilarious as well in places. Yeah, the villain is a bit crap, but the movie itself is funny. This guy right here is absolutely hilarious. We have Captain America Civil War, the MCU movie that introduced Black Panther and Spider-Man. I refer to this movie as Avengers 2.5 because I feel like this is more of an Avengers movie than Avengers Age of Ultron is. But yeah, brilliant movie. The airport fight sequence is one of the best fight sequences in the MCU. Just a brilliant movie. Hold on. Sorry about that. That was very unprofessional of me, but when you gotta sneeze, you gotta sneeze. I have another Disney classic, Cinderella. This movie is brilliantly restored. This is the only version of the movie that hasn't been digitally altered to have the film grain removed. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, it's an animated movie, how can film grain help? You would be surprised. The interesting thing is, it says here but it has a Dolby. Where is it? It says that it has Dolby something or other. Yeah, it says it has DTS master audio. It doesn't. It's the same audio that's on the basic Blu-ray. Um, and also, if you're watching this on a PS5, make sure if you have it on your TV settings that they don't have scan. You don't have just scan on, because you'll have a very strange like thing. I know, like animation glitch across the bottom. But yeah, it's a really great 4K version of a movie, and not the last time we'll be seeing this particular type of Disney restoration on the video. We have Cruella. Emma Stone is not as good as Glenn Close at being Cruella, okay? But this movie is still good. Interestingly, this rated 12. This is from that time period when the age rating, I think it's... I can't remember the name of the company, but the people that do the age certification rating over here in the UK, when they were being strange and just giving completely random age certifications to movies. I mean, for fuck's sake, the Godfather box set I have over there that coming up soon is a 15 when it should be an 18. Just why this movie's a 12, I do not know. Moderate threat, that doesn't count as a 12. Yeah, just, it's an okay movie anyway. It's kind of like they're attempting to do with Cruella what they did with Maleficent, except they forgot that Cruella's not supposed to be likable in the first place. We have Death on the Nile, which is the Kenneth Branagh Poirot movie, the second one. Also, our cast here, like it says here, you've got Tom Bateman, Annette Bening, Kenneth Branagh, obviously, Russell Brand, yes, that Russell Brand, the one that was married to Katy Perry. Ali Fazal, Dawn French, Gal Gadot, yes, Wonder Woman is in this movie. Armie Hammer, Rose Leslie, Emma Mackey, Sophia Kendo, Jennifer Saunders, and Letitia Wright. Yes, Shuri is in this. Brilliant cast. I think the other Poirot movie that I have coming up later is better. They tried a few modern, what you could consider woke things with this movie, by having an inter-race love story, and by having a lesbian relationship in this too. But yeah, it's okay. It looks fucking phenomenal though. If you watch this with HDR, like a good HDR setup, the scenes at night where it pans out and you see the boat actually on the Nile and you see the lights from the boat reflecting on the water, it looks stunning. Next, we have a holiday classic and an action classic. We have Die Hard. Big shame what's happened to Bruce Willis, poor guy. But yeah, I love this movie. This is the best of the Die Hard movies by far. And of course, you know, it's a holiday classic, and you got that line, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho." And of course, the yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yeah, just an infinitely quotable movie and a brilliant holiday classic. We have Doctor Strange. One of the, not the best origin story in the MCU, but one of the best origin stories in the MCU. My words were slurring there, sorry about that. I need to put a light on here so it's getting dark. Yeah, just a brilliant origin story. Very great effects in this one as well. We have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I really like this one. I think this has much better effects than the previous movie. Scarlet Witch actually makes a very good villain in this. Also, it's directed by Sam Raimi, the director of the original Spider-Man trilogy, so it gets bonus points for that. Hopefully this video's not too dark. We have Dumbo, the live-action Dumbo. Some people complain about this movie, saying that it's bad. It's not bad. It's inherently a Disney remake live action that's had a lot of stuff added to it, because obviously the original movie is like, I think, an hour long, if that. So obviously they had to have a lot of stuff. Um, what they added is fine, and the way they handle sequence like the pink elephant scene is fine. Just, yeah, it's, I don't know why people say this is bad. It's not that bad. We have another Disney movie. We have Encanto. The songs in this movie are very catchy. Obviously, we don't talk about Bruno being the most catchy. Again, because it's a bright, colorful Disney movie, really pops in HDR. We have Eternals. This movie is overly long. It's pretty boring. It's pretty bad. It drags. I don't know why they made this movie so long. It was also the first really, well, not the first flop, because Captain Marvel, but it's the first. Basically, it's the first truly like underperforming MCU movie, and it kind of started a downward spiral, which they haven't really recovered from. They've had some good movies since it, but just, yeah, the glory days of the MCU are gone. We have Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Brilliant movie that is a sequel to the game. Kind of interestingly, the fight sequence, the big like fight sequence between Cloud and Sephiroth in this movie, was the inspiration behind the reveal trailer for Sephiroth in Smash Brothers. So yeah, pretty good. Would highly recommend it to any Final Fantasy fan. We have Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. We got Forrest Gump. One of my favorite actors in this, Tom Hanks. This movie is a classic. This guy lived a very, 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 very interesting and very exciting and very bizarre life. Just, yeah, this is, yeah, it's one of the best movies ever made. It just simply is. It's just a phenomenal film. And we move this pile over. Oh, sorry about that. We have Frozen. This cover art is fantastic, and obviously this is a brilliant movie. The thing is, there's a lot of whites and blues in this movie, so if you don't have your white levels set correctly on your HDR, which I do, I have mine set correctly because, you know, I make sure I do, because I use it a lot for gaming and movies. If you don't have your white levels set right, this will look really bad, but if you have it set right like I do, it will look fantastic. I think the 4K of this is out of print now, I believe. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's on the 4K version is actually really, really good as well. So yeah, we have the Godfather trilogy. I am in the process of watching this trilogy. I'll open it up so you can see, because there's something special with it. You have got part 1, part 2. Now you're thinking, where's part 3? This is part 3. This here, the coda, The Death of Michael Corleone, is a new cut of Godfather Part 3, which fixes some of the issues that people have with it. It changes, it reorganizes certain scenes so that they flow narratively better. The opening makes more sense, and the ending is a completely different ending altogether. And then you have this disc, which has, it's a bonus disc, but it has the Godfather Part 3, the theatrical, and the 1991 cut. And you have the bonus disc. Interestingly, you can buy these separately, but if you keep in mind, if you buy them separately, you won't get the original or the original theatrical or the 1991 director's cut of The Godfather Part 3. You'll only get the new version, I think. You don't get the original Part 3, so you're not actually getting the original trilogy. You're getting the original 2 movies, and then a new cut of the 3rd movie. So technically, if you're getting them separately, you're not actually getting the whole trilogy. This is the only way to get all of the cuts of the movies. Of the 3rd movie, anyway. Odd that the 3rd movie has like 3 different cuts of it. For fuck's sake. You'd think I would have let this one last time. There you go. We have Gran Turismo, with a hilarious typo on the back, where they claim that this movie is 268 minutes. It's not. It's 134. They're combining together the Blu-ray and the 4K. This is a biopic movie. Basically, it's about a esports Gran Turismo player who actually became a motorsport driver as a result. So it is an adaptation of the game, but it's also a biopic at the same time, which is odd. We have The Greatest Showman, a brilliant musical, has a brilliant cast, has some brilliant songs. Yes, Zendaya is in this. A lot of people forget Zendaya was in this movie. Yeah, just has a brilliant cast in that movie. We have Gremlins, which is another one of those holiday classic movies. Absolutely stunning movie. We're probably not going to get Gremlins 2. My favourite Christmas movie, The Grinch, or How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yes, I have this under G. Actually, no. I put it in the wrong order. This should be after the next movie. Oh well. A brilliant movie. Looks gorgeous in 4K as well. We have Guardians of the Galaxy. I will put that one to the side because this will go after it. Another great MCU movie. The best Guardians movie in my opinion, and a movie that was a gamble for them because they didn't know. Basically, nobody knew who these guys were until this movie came out. Now everybody knows who they are. We'll put that on top because that's going to be under H, not G. We have the MCU movie that started it all. We have Iron Man. What can I say? Just a brilliant movie. The one that started the MCU, and still probably the best MCU origin movie. The original and still one of the best. We have Jaws. Obviously, this is another movie that is an iconic movie in cinema. Brilliant 4K version as well. We have Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the 2-movie collection, which has the original and Cradle of Life. They did a great job with both of these. The first one they did a better job with than the second one, and the first one's the better movie out of the 2 anyway, in my opinion. And I think in a lot of people's opinion. We have The Last of Us, the complete first season. This show is really great. Great adaptation of the game. Yeah, just brilliant. Also, this cover art is very much like the game. I'm looking forward to season 2. We have the Lego Batman movie. Just a fun experience as far as like movies go. We have Lightyear, which is... it's a good movie. I think it's a bit weird that we have Chris Evans voicing Buzz instead of Tim Allen. This is supposed to be in universe. This is supposed to be the movie which inspired the toy. But isn't that contradictory, because we already know that Buzz Lightyear as Star Command is a television series and a game in the universe. So did the movie come before the game and the animated the TV series, or it's just, yeah. It's okay movie though. We have what I think is probably another candidate for probably the greatest animated movie ever made, and that is The Lion King. Another masterpiece of a movie. All the songs in this movie are fantastic. Also, I saw this movie so much as a kid, I can actually quote this entire movie word for word. I am not joking. We have the live-action Little Mermaid. I don't have the animated Little Mermaid yet, because I don't think the 4K version exists. This movie is pretty bad. It's not as magical as the original. It makes a lot of errors. A lot of the changes they make to the plot are annoying. Some of the characters are needlessly changed and needlessly annoying. The fact that her skin tone is different doesn't bother me at all. It's just there's a lot of things in this movie that bother me. It looks stunning in 4K though, so it has that going for it. We have Maleficent, my favorite Disney villain, even though in this she's not a villain and she's played by one of my favorite actresses. But yeah, just a brilliant movie. This worked when they made Maleficent into an anti-hero kind of or sympathetic character in this movie. It worked. It didn't work so much for Cruella. We have the Mission Impossible 6-movie collection, which has the 1, 2, 3, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout. And yes, there's 3 in there because the middle is the Blu-ray. Brilliant movies. 2 is probably the worst of the bunch, but they get progressively better as they go along. A great set. Did a great job with all of those on there. And then we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So yes, I have all the Mission Impossible movies. Another great movie. This was actually filmed, some of this was filmed in England. So, yeah. Okay. Next, move these ones over here. This is going to be a pain having to move these. We have Mulan. Don't be confused by that. I'll explain that in a minute. This is the animated Mulan. Another one of the best Disney movies ever made. Reflection is a masterpiece of a Disney song. Just all of the songs in this are a masterpiece. Obviously, Make a Man Out of You is universally agreed to be legitimately one of the best Disney songs. Just fantastic, fantastic movie. We have the live-action Mulan, which is the exact opposite of what the original animated version is. This movie is terrible. It doesn't have any of the charm the original does. None of the songs are in it. It's legitimately just their attempt at making a more realistic, more grounded interpretation of Mulan, and it just does not work. Like, at all. It just doesn't. We have Murder on the Orient Express, which is the other Kenneth Branagh horror movie, which I believe is the better of the movies. Has a brilliant cast. You got, like it says here, you got Penelope Cruz, William Dafoe, Judi Dench, Johnny Depp, Josh Gad, Elizabeth June, Michelle Pfeiffer, Daisy Ridley. There's actors in here that aren't mentioned. Like you got Olivia Colman is in this, Derek Jacobi, who, if you're British like me, you'll immediately recognize both of those names. Just a really good adaptation of a classic detective novel that has a really good all-star cast and has a really nice end credits song by Michelle Pfeiffer as well. We have Night Before Christmas, another classic Disney movie that I love. They did a brilliant, brilliant job with the 4K of this. This was released for the 30th anniversary of this movie. Yeah, this movie is 30 years old. Yeah, just a brilliant, brilliant movie. Some of the best songs in that too. We have... Also, it's funny, it's referred to as Tim Burton's Night Before Christmas when he actually didn't write it. He just produced it. Pokemon Detective Pikachu. A great family movie. Ryan Reynolds is fantastic as Detective Pikachu. The movie is hilarious as well. Looks brilliant in 4K. But yeah. We have Raya and the Last Dragon. One of the more frowned upon Disney movies. A lot of people say this movie is all over the place with its tone. It tries to be sad and hilarious at the same time, and it doesn't really work, people say, but yeah, it's okay. I like it for what it is. It seems like a perfect candidate for a world in Kingdom Hearts, because the plot and the tone and everything, which goes on the journey. And we have my favourite movie of all time, Ready Player One. I can't really get this out, but there's a steelbook in there. There's also a key, this pin badge. There's also a post-it in there. Yeah, this is a limited edition one. My favorite movie. If you're a gamer, you'll probably love this because there's a bunch of references. There's a bunch of video game characters in there too. But yeah, just you can get a standard version, but that's the version I have there. We have RoboCop. Just another like 80s classic that's a great movie. This is a it says here it's a special director's cut. So it's like a special cut of the movie. It's a brilliant movie. We have Rocky. Another this is a 70s classic, 90s classic. This actually won Best Picture in 1976. Which is interesting because isn't that the same year Godfather Part 2 came out? Or was that 78? I know Godfather Part 1 was 74 and it won Best Picture. And infamously, Marlon Brando won an Oscar for his portrayal as Vito Corleone, but refused to accept the Oscar. I don't recall the reason, but yeah, I didn't realize this won Best Picture. Yeah, it's a classic movie. Then we have Rocky 2, which is the rematch with Apollo, who as actor Carl Weathers has actually died pretty recently, which was a bit of a shock. Not as good as the first movie. I don't have... Well, there is no 4K version of 5 or Balboa yet, and I don't have 3 or 4, even though 4 is my favourite of the Rocky movies. I actually think 4 is the best one. We have Scarface, another gangster classic starring Al Pacino. He did a lot of great gangster movies. But yeah, this is just phenomenal music in this movie too. And of course, insanely quotable and actually has a really good life lesson in it. We have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, another one of my favorite movies. They did the best they could with this because unfortunately this movie was shot digitally, not on film. So we're never going to get a full native 4K of this movie, but they did the best they could with what they had. And again, one of my favorite movies, so I'm glad I have it. It's actually hilarious to see Chris Evans in that as well. We have Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. A okay movie. They didn't really do a good job with the 4K though. It's just basically the Blu Ray, but with HDR. Just, yeah. We have Shazam, Fury of the Gods, which is a better movie than people give it credit for. The end, when I first saw it, after the big battle scene, actually kind of got me emotional because I actually genuinely believed they were going in that direction with it, but they didn't. Also, there's a great cameo near the end that I don't want to spoil for anybody who's not seen it, but if you've seen it, you know what I mean. Just, yeah. You have The Shining, a horror classic that is brilliant on 4K. This movie is actually also in Ready Player One, surprisingly. We have the Disney classic that started it all, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is I believe, a limited availability Disney movie. So you'll only be able to get this on 4K for a very limited time. But yeah, it's the movie that started it all. And where is she? That bitch right there used to scare the hell out of me as a kid. Ugh. Also, I love the cover art in this. I love how the dress, Snow White's dress, is actually the artwork. I actually really like that. They did a similar thing with Cinderella, so I'm wondering if they're doing that with all of the restorations of the classics going forward, which would be really nice to see if they are doing that. We have Sonic the Hedgehog, a really good adaptation. not as good as its sequel, and I'm really looking forward to Sonic 3. We have Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This is a special artwork, which was from a store called HMV. It has inside, it has a comic book with it, an IDW one. I think this is better than the first movie. Idris Elba is hilarious as Knuckles. Just Eggman is even crazier. It's just, and of course, there's this woman's sister. Her sister is absolutely hilarious, especially with that wedding scene, where she drives the golf buggy thing. That's absolutely freaking hilarious. But yeah, a really good, really fun movie. Next, we have a classic from my childhood, Space Jam. I used to watch this movie a lot as a kid, because I grew up a basketball fan. I even played basketball in high school. I was the captain of my school basketball team. Yeah, just it's a classic, and it looks fantastic in 4K as well. Really happy to have that. We have Space Jam: Legacy. This movie's on the other end of the spectrum. I detest this movie. I hate it. Basically, the first 45 minutes of this movie are basically ego stroking for LeBron James. Like, oh, look how great LeBron is. Which is funny because I don't recall the first movie ever having to reiterate how great Michael Jordan was. Just also, the CG. It's funny how on this cover art, the CG Looney Tunes are nowhere to be found. There's a reason for that. They are horrifying looking, and I never want to see them in that style ever again. Like, Taz looks fine. Taz looks cute, and so does Wily. But, some of the characters, like, some of the characters just look genuinely horrifying in CG. So, and plus the movie is pretty bad. In fact, actually, the movie is actually terrible, in my opinion. And it's like, oh, look at all this stuff that Warner Brothers has. We have the original Spider-Man, which is a fantastic movie, a great 4K version of it too. Just one of the best superhero movies ever made. We have Spider-Man 2, which is the superior sequel to the original movie. Has probably one of the most iconic scenes in a superhero movie, the scene where he's pulling the train along, and then the people on the train are like lifting him up above them. Just yeah, it's just that scene alone makes this movie fantastic. We have Spider-Man 3, the reviled Spider-Man movie. I hate this movie, but I like it at the same time. I like some of what it tries to do. I hate the stuff with Venom, and I hate the stuff with Peter being a dick to MJ. I especially have issue with him smacking her. That would never happen. Even when he would be under control of a symbiote suit, Peter would never hit MJ. It just wouldn't. You have The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. The first movie is fantastic. The second movie is the worst Spider-Man movie to ever be made. It's a clusterfuck, but the first movie is really good. We have Spider-Man Homecoming, the first of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Tom Holland's my favourite Spider-Man. I'm just putting that out there. It's a good movie. It's actually pretty funny in places. Yeah, it's a good starting point for his trilogy. We have Spider-Man Far From Home, another movie I saw in cinemas. I keep forgetting to mention what ones I saw in cinemas, but oh well. It has my favourite Spider-Man villain in it, Mysterio. Has some brilliant effects. Has some sad moments with the memory of Tony, but yeah, brilliant movie. Also, it's kind of interesting because the spine has a different artwork to the slipcase, which is a choice. We have Spider-Man No Way Home, which is probably tied with Endgame as my favorite MCU movie. It's definitely the best live-action Spider-Man movie ever made, because I think at this point everybody knows this is a movie that has all three live-action Spider-Man in it. Which, if you grew up with all three like I have, yeah, that's that's cool. We have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, one of the best animated movies ever made. Stunning looking, so many brilliant different art styles that blend together really well. We have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, even better than the original in my opinion. Has a lot of cool references. The Insomniac PlayStation Spider-Man is in this, just brilliant. And I hate it ends on a cliffhanger though, that probably won't be resolved for a very long time. It's just, yeah, but it's still a brilliant movie and looks stunning as well. Stand By Me, which is my best friend's favorite movie. Well, one of my best friend's favorite movie. Yeah, just a brilliant movie. Really emotional, really iconic 80s movie. It's older than me, way older than me, but yeah. We have Star Wars, A New Hope, so basically the original, episode 4. I only have the original trilogy. I don't have the prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy because I just don't particularly care much for them. Episode 3 is really good. 7 is okay. 8 is 9 is terrible. 1 is and 2 is a snooze fest. So 4, 5, and 6 are the only great ones in my opinion. And I probably just annoyed the Star Wars fan base, but that's just my opinion. We have The Empire Strikes Back. I did say I had the original trilogy, so you probably shouldn't know this was coming next. Yeah, this is a great movie as well. Has that iconic scene on Hoth. And then we have what I think is the best Star Wars movie. We have Return of the Jedi. I genuinely believe this is the best one. Just a fantastic movie. We have what I think is an underrated movie. We have Super 8. These kids basically make a Super 8 movie and they find an alien in an abandoned subway car. So, yeah, it's actually a really, really good sci-fi movie. We have another movie classic. We have Superman, the movie, or just Superman. A brilliant, brilliant movie. Still holds up really well to this day. Honestly, one of the best superhero movies, and it won Academy Awards. So, whoever says superhero movies have never won awards, yes, they have. This did. And then we have Superman 2, and also the Superman 2 Richard Donner cut. I don't have 3 and 4 because 3 I'm not really fond of, and 4 is an absolute disaster of a movie. But yeah, this is pretty good. I like that you get both cuts of the movie. This is 4 discs because you get the Blu Rays as well. So yeah. And the last, we have the Super Mario Bros. Movie. A brilliant, brilliant movie. A very, very good adaptation. Hilarious, bright and colourful. Just a really great movie that has a ton of references, and not just to Mario, but to like other franchises. Like there's a reference to Pikmin in there. There's a reference to Kid Icarus, to Punch Out. Just yeah. I think there's an Animal Crossing reference in there too. The Suicide Squad. I'm not gonna open this, even though it's a steelbook. I think this movie's actually really good. The first one is terrible. That dude there, Peacemaker, he is the highlight of the movie though. There's a reason he got his own show. We have Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Brilliant movie, terrible 4K. The 4K of this movie is really bad. Like, really, really bad. The artwork is really great though. We have Thor: Love and Thunder. I have a very odd relationship with this movie. I think this movie's okay. I just don't think it's great. Those things are fucking annoying though. Just yeah, I hate how they build up Jane Foster as the Lady Thor, and then they just kill her at the end. It just yeah. Oh yeah, that was a spoiler, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. We have the Abyss of Vakanda Tomb Raider movie. This is based on the reboot games, not the originals. It's actually a pretty good movie. It follows the game pretty well, but yeah, it was supposed to get a sequel, but because it didn't do as well, it didn't, and it probably never will, because like Amazon. We have Top Gun, which is an 80s classic, brilliant movie, quintessential 80s movie, looks fantastic in 4K as well. We have Top Gun Maverick, probably the best looking 4K that you can actually get. Just a brilliant, brilliant movie. Really sad in places as well, but just like a brilliant movie and looks absolutely stunning. And it even has the IMAX scenes, which very few 4K Blu-rays do. We have Toy Story 4. I really want to get 1, 2, and 3, especially 3, because it's one of my favorite movies. But this is the only one I have. It's okay. It's not, like, the best Toy Story movie, but it's still a really, really good movie. We have Turning Red, which just got re-released, but as a theatrical movie. When the home media version came out, when it was on Disney Plus, it's a pretty good movie. Has an earworm of a song in it as well by these guys. But yeah, it's a really, really good movie. It's not girly either. You think it would be, but it's not. Uncharted. People were skeptical about Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. I even was, but after seeing the movie, yeah. Mark Wahlberg Sully, though, is a whole other story. It's a good movie. It just, yeah. You're gonna have to adjust. We have Venom, which I actually think is actually a good movie. I know a lot of people don't. I actually like this movie. I think it's really funny as well in places. Especially, like, when Venom is, like, talking to Eddie. And he's saying, like, fuck this guy, and then, like, you know what, fuck it, and just bites people's heads off and shit. It's actually kind of funny. We have Venom Let There Be Carnage, which I think is too short. Yes, this movie's too short. I think it should have been longer. Carnage is incredibly creepy. This should have been an R-rated movie, though, to really, you know, do a lot more with him. We have a movie that I loved as a child and still do, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Basically, there's a scene in this movie that has Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny on the screen together, which has never happened since. Just a who's who, basically, of old school animated characters. And the 4K version is absolutely stunning looking. Another classic movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. A brilliant, brilliant job restoring this one. We have Wonder Woman, which I think is one of the best DC EU movies. Yeah, just a brilliant movie. Then we have the sequel, Wonder Woman 1984, which is a absolutely awful, awful movie. It's long, it's boring. There's a plot point in it that I won't ruin that infuriates me. That involves a man and like her powers and stuff. Just infuriates me because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Just yeah, a bad movie. And last but no means least, we have Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is a fantastic version of the Justice League movie. It is 4 hours long, but it's brilliant. Also, it's such a long movie that it's on 2 discs. Even Godfather Part 2, which is about the same length, isn't on 2 discs. So yeah, they were really serious with that one. So that is my 4K Blu collection, guys. Yeah, again, it was a long video, but